Welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. So, this is Dhatri and today we are going to discuss about Mollusca, its general characteristics and classifications. So, the Mollusca are the second largest phylum and the term Mollusca was coined by Aristotle. So, it is derived from a Latin term, that is mollis means soft, as it has soft surface. So, they are usually called as mollusca, and the study of molluscas is known as malacology, and the study of shells is known as conchology. And the size of mollusca, they vary in different lengths, and they are present in all habitats except in air, and the main characteristics of the mollusca is the presence of shell, and it has a great value in architectural as well as ornamental value. So, this is the general structure of the mollusca. So, the organs which are present in the mollusca are mouth, then mantle, digestive gland, stomach, gonad, intestine, heart, nephridium which is for excretory purpose, shell, gills for exchange of gases, that is respiration, then mantle cavity and anus and other organs. So, these organisms which belonging to the phylum Mollusca are mainly marine in nature. Some are freshwater and others are terrestrial, that means they are present on the land, and they have bilateral symmetry, that means the organisms can be divided into two equal halves except gastropods, where they are asymmetrically divided due to the presence of torsion. So, torsion is nothing but the tilting of the shell at an angle of 180 degrees with respect to the head, and they are triploblastic eucoelomic protozoans. That means triploblastic means presence of 3 germ layers, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm, and eucoelomates, that means presence of true coelom which is of mesodermal origin, and they are having soft unsegmented body, and the shell is either external or internal, and some are not having any shell, that is vaginules. These are the examples of the mollusks without any shell. Then cephalization is present in the mollusca, sensory organs and mouth are present, and body is divided into visceral mass, head, foot and mantle. So, this is the shell structure and how they are formed. So, mantle is the central soft portion, and the fluid filled cavity inside this mantle is called as mantle cavity. So, mantle is a fleshy fold of the skin, and the space between the mantle and body parts is called mantle or pallial cavity. And the foot is ventral with a thick muscular structure which is mainly for the locomotion or movement of the organisms, and they are to perform swimming, creeping or burrowing. And there are unstripped muscles from body, and respiratory organs are primarily gills for the exchange of gases, and they are present as pairs, one or more pairs, and the lungs are developed only in the mollusca which are of terrestrial in their nature, that is through aerial respiration. And olfactory organs are osphradium, and this is present. So, this is how the respiration of mollusks are performed through gills. So, that means they usually diffuse oxygen and carbon dioxide from the water. Then the digestive tract is complete, and radula rasping organ is present, and the digestive glands are present, and salivary glands are present, and specialized feeding structures are also present in the mollusca, and the circulatory system consists of heart, which have 1 to 4 auricles and ventricles. Then the heart is open and the blood contains hemocyanin instead of hemoglobin, and they are closed as cephalopods. And the coelom, that is the body cavity with pericardium, are present in most cases, and the excretory system consists of kidney like nephridia, which is usually ranging from 1 to 6 pairs. So, these are the feeding apparatus present in the gastropod, that is mouth, radula and radula protractor. So, all these are present, radula sac, radula retractor and esophagus. So, this is the major feeding apparatus present in the gastropod organisms, and even radula teeth are also present. Then advanced nervous system can be seen in the organisms of mollusca, like brain, paired cerebral, pedal, pleural and visceral ganglia. Then connectivities and commissures are present, and the sensory organs are mainly eyes, then sensory papillae, statocyst and ospradia. So, the reproduction is monoecious or dioecious, that means the sexes may be separate or within the same organism, and the fertilization is either external or internal, and the cleavage is determinate or spiral because they are spiral in their structure. Usually the cleavage will be mostly spiral in nature, and the development is direct or indirect with trachospore or veliger larvae. Now, based on the structure and shape of the shell and the position of the foot, they are classified into 7 classes. They are Aplacophora, Monoplacophora, Polyplacophora, Scapopoda, Gastropoda, Pelecypoda, Cephalopoda. So, the first class is Aplacophora. So, they are solenogasters which look like worms. They are as primitive as worms, and they are marine. They live in burrows, and some are also present in corals, and the shell is absent in these organisms, and foot is not prominent, and they are either vestigial or completely absent, and the body is covered with thick mantle which is provided by calcareous spicules. That means the calcium is present in the shells, and the alimentary canal is tubular, radula, and digestion is by extracellular or intracellular digestive system, and the respiration is through gills or mantle as in the form of neomenia. And this reproduction is mainly through monoecious or dioecious. That means the sexes may be separate or within the same organism, and the gonads may be single or paired. And in the nephridial duct, that is in the excretory system, the ducts are present at the posterior where they are united or in the form of copulatory organ, and the development is indirect with trachospore larvae, and there are 2 orders within this class. And the second class is Monoplacophora. So, they are mostly extinct in Cambrian or Devonian theories, and in 1952 Neophilia galathea was found, and later 3 more genera were included in this class, and the body is oval and having bilateral symmetry. That means they have oval shape and they can be divided into 2 equal halves, and the shell is present on the dorsal side with a single piece, and the head is not distinct, and eyes are absent completely, and ciliated tentacles are present near the mouth, and flat foot is present on the ventral side. 5 to 6 pairs of unipectinate gills are present. So, the gills are primary organs for the respiration and they have spacious coelom which is unique, and radula which is for the feeding are present, and subradula is also present in these organisms, and crystalline style of stomach is present, and intestine is spirally coiled. Pair digestive glands are present, and pericardial sinus surrounds the heart, and the heart is made up of 2 pairs of auricles and a pair of ventricles. And the excretion is primarily with the help of 6 pairs of nephridia, and they are dioecious in nature. That means the 2 sexes are separate and the 2 pairs of testes are present below the intestine, and examples are neopilenia. And the next class is Polyplacophora. They are present as chitons, where they are dorsoventrally having flattened oval or elliptical in shape. They are marine in nature, and the head is separated from the foot in the form of a narrow groove. So, eyes and tentacles are completely absent. They have large muscular foot on the ventral side, and the shell is having mid dorsal region with 8 broad plates, and the mantle is present in the form of girdle, and it will have scales and spines. And radula and subradula are present, and this radula is having teeth, and subradula having a nature which tests the food. So, these are mainly for the feeding purpose of the mollusca, and the salivary and digestive glands are also present, and here 1 to 20 pairs of gills are present which help in the respiration, and they are dioecious with single gonad. That means the sexes are separate with a single gonad, and trachophore is the life cycle. So, it completes its life cycle in the form of trachophore. So, it has 2 orders which are included in this class. So, this is the anatomy of the organisms belonging to this Polyplacophoron class. And next class is Scaphopoda, which are burrowing animals, and they are commonly called as tusk or tooth shells, and the shell is tubular which is having open at both ends, and head is not distinct and eyes are completely absent, and foot is boat shaped and pointed and the muscular in nature, which helps in burrowing of these organisms. And the mantle is present which is surrounded from all sides in the form of tubular region, and at the ends, both the ends, there is opening, and gills are absent and mantles folds which helps in the respiration. So, this is how the organism looks like, which has 8 shell plates present on the interstitial zone. And the next class is Gastropoda, which is inactive and sluggish animals such as snails and slugs, and the head is distinct. Foot and visceral mass are also present, and they are bilaterally symmetrical due to the presence of torsion. So, torsion is nothing but the bending of the shell in 180 degrees with respect to head. So, they become asymmetrical in nature, and the head bears 2 pairs of tentacles and a pair of eyes which are stalked in nature, and foot is ventral which having muscle in their region, that is it is flat muscular organ which is modified for the movement, that is for swimming as well as burrowing, and the respiration is by ctenidia, lungs or both, because if it is terrestrial then lungs help in the respiration. And heart is with 2 auricles and a ventricle, and pericardial space is surrounding within this heart, and hemoglobin like pigment is present. So, that means not only hemoglobin but also hemocyanin. So, these are two pigments which are present in the heart, and one or two pairs of kidneys are present for the excretion, and well developed nervous system is present, that is nerve with 8 shaped nervous system is present. This is because of the torsion which is present, and the nervous system is called as streptonuria, and it is not this shape because of the distortion. So, because of the torsion, so the nervous system is present in the form of shape 8. So, this is the generalized anatomy of the gastropod shell. So, because of torsion there is a tilting. So, all the organs are little bit tilted. So, they are mostly in the spiral form, and the reproduction here is mainly unisexual or hermaphrodites. That means within the same organism both male and female reproductive organs are present. So, only one gonad is present near hepatopancreas, and here trochophore or Welgier larva is the life history. That means it completes its larval cycle in this larval stage, and it is again subdivided into 3 classes, 3 subclasses. So, this class consists of 3 subclasses in them. So, this is the torsion, how it looks like. So, in the image A, B and C, we can easily identify how the bending is taking place, and because of bending, so the complete shell is bent. So, this is called as torsion. So, in the first image, so the anus is present in the towards the mantle cavity and mouth is at the other end, whereas in the last image, so the anus is bent so that it is coming near to the parallel to the mouth, and the mantle cavity is also shifted to anterior side. So, they are mostly shelled marine gastropods, and examples are murex. So, these are the images of some of the marine gastropods. Trochophore larva. So, this is the larval stage in which the mollusca will continue their life history, and some are present as a sea slugs. So, these are the images of the mollusca or gastropoda which are present as a sea slugs, and pulmonata. So, these are the terrestrial snails or slugs, so which are mainly seen on lands or fresh water. So, they are snails. So, these are the images of the gastropods which are mainly present on the land or terrestrial. So, the mantle cavity serves as a lung in the terrestrial gastropod molluscas, and the glandular epidermis is present. They secrete mucus or slime layer which is soft. So, this helps in the gliding of these gastropods on the terrestrial region, and these slugs, they usually lack shells, and the mantle is present in the thickened form, and the air intake is through mantle cavity. So, this mantle cavity acts as a lung here. So, this is the realistic image of the Welliger larva in the gastropods, and the next class is Pelecypoda. So, they are bivalves, that means they are having 2 valves because of the shell with 2 halves joined with hinge teeth, and the body is laterally compressed, and the head is distinct, eyes and tentacles are completely absent. So, the labile palps, that is near the mouth for chewing, so they help in the feeding of the food, and foot is flat and is in the form of axe. This helps in the movement in the bottom of the water. In some bisects, apparatus is also present, which helps to adhere these organisms to the substratum in the bottom of the water. And the muscles are well developed, and the two halves of the shells open and close by contractions and relaxations of the two adductors muscles. And the blood contains corpuscles and hemocyanin as a pigment instead of hemoglobin, and a single aorta arises from the anterior part of the heart, which is made up of two auricles and one ventricle, which is surrounded by pericardium, and the cerebral, pedal and pleural ganglia are present in the nervous system, and sense organs are present in the margin of the mantle folds, and they usually help in the detection of various chemicals or predators. And the sexes are separate, and some hermaphrodites, that means the organisms having the both male and female reproductive organs in the same organism. So, they are usually seen in this class of molluscas, and single pair of gonads are present, and gonoducts open into the mantle cavity, and mantle covers the body on the dorsal and lateral sides. At posterior end of the mantle there are two siphons, which are called inhalant siphon and exhalant siphon, and the respiration is mainly by a pair of lamellar cytidia, which is projecting ventrally into the mantle cavity. Then buccal mass is present, but it is without radula, subradula or odontophore. So, buccal mass is mainly for the feeding purpose, and the alimentary canal is coiled tube with crystalline style in the intestine, and there are ciliary feeders, and kidneys are present, but they are simple and glandular. And bivalvia, so these are a group in this class. So, oysters, mussels, scallops, so these come under this bivalvia. So, the life history includes trochophore or veliger larvae, and glochidium is the modified veliger, and parasitic on fishes is seen in the freshwater mussels. And Pelecypoda is divided into again 3 subclasses. And now another class is bivalvia. So, bivalvia is having 2 shells. So, the name itself indicates bi means 2, valvia. So, 2 shells are present here. They are incurrent or excurrent siphons, and no cephalization is seen in these organisms, and a pearl among the spine. So, here the pearls are generated from these shells, bivalvia shells. So, this is the anatomy, how it looks like. So, there is a shell and there is a mantle, and a pearl is developed within these shells. So, this is the generalized anatomy of this bivalvia class of mollusca. So, this is how the external shell and internal shell looks like, in which the pearls are developed. They have filter feeders present in these bivalves, and the gills are mainly responsible for the exchange of gases. So, there is excurrent and incurrent flow of gases, which is seen here, and a mouth is present, and this food, it grooves through this mucus string present inside this bivalvia organisms. Then this is again the structure sagittal. So, where we can see the digestive glands, gonads, intestine, mantile, then genital pore, anterior aorta, stomach. So, all the organs are present within these bivalvia organisms. Then glochidia, it is a unique larval stage of the freshwater bivalves. So, the other mollusks have different larval stage, but in this bivalvia mollusca there is a different larval stage. So, it helps in the internal fertilization. So, early development is seen in brood chamber, that is mantle cavity, and release of Glaucidia is seen from that stage, and it attaches to the gills of the fish and are distributed. So, this is the life cycle. Then the last class is Cephalopoda. Here the shells are internal, external or absent, and the foot is modified into arms around the mouth and present as a funnel in which the water is pumped through this pallial cavity, and radula and a pair of jaws are present in the buccal cavity for feeding, and two pairs of salivary glands are present and other glands are also present, and the vascular system is closed, and through this closed circulatory system the blood is flowed, and they are bilateral in symmetry, and they are marine, free living and swimming. They are divided into head and trunk. Their head is distinct and a pair of developed eyes are present. Head is having 8 to 10 arms around mouth and which are suckers. Visceral mass is uncoiled and covered, and the mantle encloses the pallial cavity in which the gills are located for respiration. So, this is the anatomy. Kidneys are present in the form of pairs and the sexes are separate, and gonad is present as a single. So, in males one pair of arms are modified into copulatory organs and the development is direct. So, here there are three subclasses present in this class. So, they are huge. You can see that they are almost as big as human beings, and they are squids, octopus come under the cephalopoda. So, this is a cephalopoda eye which is well developed, and this is the anatomy, and this is the comparison of the organisms between all these 7 classes. So, this is the color and morphological changes for camouflage, that is to protect from the predators. This is all about mollusca, their general classification and their general characteristics. So, mollusca are characterized with the presence of shell, they are well developed. So, they are again divided into 7 classes. So, among these 7 classes also some of them are primitive and some of them are well developed with all the organs like respiratory, circulatory, excretory and nervous system and well developed eyes, feeding organs, and all are present in some organisms. And the economic importance of these mollusca are mainly they are pearls, so which are developed from these molluscas. So, they have a very good architectural and ornamental values. Thank you.